Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we are taking a look at some awesome spicy battles featuring Hyper Beam BIBAREL in the Great League. Now typically BIBAREL will often run Hyper Fang, which is a cheaper charge move but does a lot less damage. So Hyper Beam may catch some opponents off guard and gives BIBAREL a lot of nuke potential endgame. Now these battles were submitted by a fellow content creator, Ike the Bot, so I will have a link to his channel in the description. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's take a look at Hyper Beam BIBAREL in the Great League. Hopping into the first match here and picking up a pretty neutral lead Frostlass into Mandibuzz. As you can see, he is running a pretty standard ABB style team where the back two Pokemon both are weak to counter and Frostlass is able to resist counter. This Mandibuzz matchup is tough because while Avalanche hits for super effective, so does that Dark Pulse that hits for huge damage and now going to safe switch into the Umbreon. Mandibuzz does decide to chip it, they just go for the Aerial Ace there, and now they bring in a Nidoqueen, and this is where running the Community Day move of Psychic is really nice. Psychic allows Umbreon to hit for super effective damage and is able to force the shield. The Nidoqueen farms up a lot of energy, but no one move will take out Umbreon from this health. They do go for the Earth Power there, and as you can see, Umbreon tanks that easily. Psychic lands, does a nice chunk of damage, and now Nidoqueen will probably just opt to go for the Poison Fang here, which they're able to do, but Ike is able to get off the foul play, and this will apply a lot of pressure to that Nidoqueen, able to get the second shield, and now aggressively switching into the BIBAREL. And now BIBAREL here, shielding up the Poison Fang, which is unfortunate, but they have a Defense Deoxys in the back. Come on, get to the Hyper Beam. Get to the Hyper Beam. All right, come on. I want to see how much damage this does. Please. Oh, and that one shot's a Defense Deoxys. Are you kidding me? Defense Deoxys, one of the tankiest Pokemon in Great League, getting absolutely one shot by BIBAREL with the Hyper Beam. You love to see it. Oh my goodness. And he's able to clutch the win. Wow, alright, hopping into the next match, we have Frostlass into Shadow Politoed. This is a horrible lead, going to safe swap into the BIBAREL, and again they bring in a Defense Deoxys. Do you think he knows? I don't think he knows. Come on, Hyper Beam, please. Oh man, get out of here. Oh my goodness, absolutely banishing Defense Deoxys. You love to see it, and BIBAREL on the safe switch, able to flip switch, and now Frostlass will not have to fight against this Shadow Politoed. Shadow Politoed goes straight for the Earthquake there. It does more damage than the Weather Ball, but the Weather Ball, at least pre-nerf, is more efficient, and they have a Nidoqueen in the back, and again this is where Psychic is so nice. Psychic doing big damage, and now you can just probably farm down with the Frostlass, to be 100% honest here. Earth Power would hurt, have to respect the Earth Power, but now should be in a pretty good position to help close endgame here. Can survive a Weather Ball here. They go for the Earthquake, so nice read by the Politoed. They have two shields. He's going to go for the Psychic and hope for the defense drop here with two shields. Psychic gets the shield and gets the defense drop. Oh, this is huge. All right, come on. Just have to shield it up. This guy's gone for a lot of Earthquakes. He finally baits, but the Snarl goes through and able to get the win. Oh my, so that's 2 games. 2 Defense Deoxys absolutely banished by Hyper Beam. Hopping into the next match here, and this is a pretty okay lead versus Toxicroak. At the very least, the Mud Bombs are only neutral here and the counters are resisted. Frostlass isn't the tankiest, so the Mud Bomb does hurt, but Frostlass has okay bulk. Able to get the shield, which is very nice. And going to safe switch into Umbreon, because unfortunately, Umbreon doesn't have a great matchup here either, but Psychic does have some one-shot potential. Building up and able to get to the Psychic. We'll see if the Toxicroak does decide to commit the second shield, which they do. So the opponent recognizing that he's weak to Toxicroak, and the opponent doing a very nice catch, trying to catch the Psychic onto the Galarian Stunfisk. Unfortunately, unable to do so, but gets farmed down. On the bright side, BIBAREL is here, and it does quite well against Galarian Stunfisk. Correctly shielding the Earthquake is absolutely massive. And now he's going to switch back into the Frostlass. Should be able to go for the Avalanche here. And Avalanche will be taking them out. And now, do they bring back in the Toxicroak and attempt to farm down? No, they bring in a Mew. Okay, so this will be tough. Just got to get to the beam here. Wild Charge from Mew would hurt quite a bit. Shields it up. It's a Flame Charge bait. They switch in the Toxicroak, and Toxicroak has a move. They go for the Sludge Bomb. That does big damage, and this is going to be a really uphill battle. Goes for the Surf. That takes them out, and come on. Got to do as much damage as possible. Not going to be able to get to the Hyper Beam. Needs the Surf to KO here, and oh, they come so close. Not quite able to get there. Mew able to get to the Wild Charge. So an incredibly close game. Toxicroak on the lead. Very tough for this team. Hopping to the next match. Another rough lead with Politoed. Actually staying in a bit this time. Maybe going to try and catch. And no, staying in. Opting not to catch and will tank a Weather Ball. So playing this lead out differently than they did in game number 2. The Shadow Ball will hurt quite a bit. Politoed is shielding that up, and there's the catch. Catches on the second one. Very nice catch onto the BIBAREL, and we'll have to see what they have in back. They bring in a Powder Snow, a Alolan Ninetales, which honestly is not a great response to BIBAREL because all of the fast moves here from the Ninetales are resisted, and they're going to be forced to go for the Dazzling Gleam. Surf does a lot. Shields up. They bait with the Weather Ball. That's unfortunate, but this should just be another Weather Ball. You can let this go. Water Gun down, and he will be able to flip switch, so that way his poor Frostlass does not have to deal with the Politoed. They bring back in the Politoed, and now going to catch onto the Umbreon. Beautifully done, preserving that health. And we'll see what they have in back. And it's another Nidoqueen. Lots of Nidoqueens this season. To be fair, it is one of the best mons currently. Psychic does big damage there. You love to see it. And again, Umbreon can survive any one move. They just go for the Poison Fang. That's totally fine. Again, even another Poison Fang, Umbreon does survive this. It's close, but Umbreon does survive it, and they're able to get off the foul play. Deciding to undercharge here, and now just going to try and let them get taken out. Aggressively switches in the Frostlass. Back in comes the Politoed. Just has to get to the Shadow Ball, because if they can get the Shadow Ball off, BIBAREL has the ability to get to the Hyper Beam. But the Shadow Ball lands. It does a lot of damage there. The opponent called the bait unsuccessfully, and no Hyper Beam was needed. All right, hopping in the next match. Really got to hope this is Bubble. Unfortunately, it's a Hex Jelly, so that's not great. But Shadow Ball from Frostlass will do a ton of damage here. They shield it up, and now going to safe switch into BIBAREL. And the opponent farms up a ton of energy before they bring in Abomasnow. But do they know about the beam? Do they know about the beam? I don't think he's ready for the beam. Oh my! Get absolutely one-shot by Hyper Beam. Oh my goodness. Putting the Abomasnow to sleep. Good night, Mr. Abomasnow. And now BIBAREL able to get the Surf off here. And Surf does a nice chunk of damage, and now can align the Frostlass with the Skarmory, and things are looking a lot better because Umbreon is going to absolutely destroy this Jellicent. It doesn't matter how much energy they have, and you just let this go. You just trust in your two shielded Umbreon. Oh, they Bubble Beam as well. Umbreon comes in. Yeah, there's not a thing this Jellicent can do. All the Bubble Beams in the world will not save you from Umbreon here. Again, they have so much loaded energy. They're going for another Bubble Beam there. And now, it's foul play time. Foul play, gets the shield, and the opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. So again, Hyper Beam proving to be absolutely essential in quite a few of these matches. Not the best lead here versus a Shadow Lapras. Tries to catch the Surf. Unfortunately, the opponent read the catch and is now probably going to Skull Bash. And that is the Skull Bash. That does a ton of damage to the bulky Umbreon. Man, Shadow Lapras hits quite hard. And since the defense is buffed as well, That is very unfortunate, as that foul play really doesn't do a lot. Surf gets them very low, only getting to the one move, opting to go for the foul play here. And again, that's just not going to be doing enough damage, which is unfortunate. And Lapras leaves with quite a bit of loaded energy. I think you kind of have to bring in BIBAREL here and basically just hope for a farm down, because they just go surf, that's fine, and now you just have to water gun down. It's going to be very painful. You'll have to eat 2 surfs, but since they threw the surf, you can water gun down, and you should leave with a lot of energy, and maybe can potentially land a Hyper Beam endgame. And oh, they have a counter user, not going to be able to get to the beam, but Surf should hit hard here. It's a Shadow Machamp, and now switches in Frostlass and throws 1 counter before they're able to reach the cross chop. Very nice, able to force the shield, and it's a Frostlass of their own in the back. So there is a chance here. So that Lapras was really rough to see up front, but should have a lot of play. Farming up a bunch of energy, and now going to be going for the Shadow Ball. No baiting here. You absolutely cannot bait, and the opponent calls it, and that's why. When you're in a situation where you have shield advantage, oftentimes at a high level, opponents will call the bait, as that's their win con. So very nice situational awareness, recognizing he needed to go for the nuke move and successfully landing it. All right, hopping into the next match. Frostlass into Surfetched. If you're going to see a Surfetched, you want to see it here, but man, if they have Night Slash, this will get a little rough, so probably has to respect it. They go for the Leaf Blade, was able to get the extra Powder Snow through, which is very nice, and they safe swap into Galvantula, and oof. 2 core breakers right off the bat, is you really don't want to see Galvantula either. Definitely bringing in the Umbreon, and this lunge will do a lot of damage. Galvantula has a very high attack stat, going to be able to get off the foul play, but with the debuff and Umbreon not hitting very hard, just doesn't do a whole lot. But even so, the Galvantula still shields it up. Very interesting. So they are making a play for switch advantage. Lunge does not kill, able to correctly under tap and get off the foul play, and that'll do a nice chunk of damage. So very nice mechanics there, and they have Amanda Buzz in the back. Should be able to get off this Avalanche, which does a nice chunk of damage, and then maybe try and catch onto BIBAREL here. Oh, very nicely done. As you can see, these swaps are very, very crisp. And now, can you commit to the water gun down? This is a very bulky Pokemon. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to. This is going to be close. Ooh, can they? He's going to go for it. He's going to go for the farm down, and he just makes it. Oh my goodness. Definitely has to throw right away. The counter goes through from Surfetched, so BIBAREL will be dead after this counter registers. They bring back in Galvantula with energy, but the good news here is Surfetched does not have a move. So Frostlass can just farm down and then throw a move at the Surfetched, and that is going to be a good game. So very nicely played, able to navigate against 2 core breakers for the team and able to get the win. Very nicely played. Hopping in the next match against a woolly goat. I mean, if you're playing against an actual goat in PvP, you're a human. You got to get this dub. All right, let's do this thing. Now, throwing after 7 poison jabs. Unfortunately, the Nidoqueen does get an extra 1 through. And now catching onto Umbreon. Very nicely done. Able to catch the Earth Power. Umbreon quite a bit tankier. And the Nidoqueen is staying in and going for that Poison Fang, wanting to get that debuff. Able to get the debuff, and now they're going to switch into Scrafty. Honestly, I think a bit of a mistake by the opponent to stay in and go for that debuff. Definitely could have farmed up and banked that energy for later. And now, Scrafty is really not something you want to see with this line, as I believe it does beat all 3 of the Pokemon, so Frostlass will have to put in a lot of work here, as Avalanche will do quite a bit of damage against Scrafty, but I don't believe it one-shots. Although these Powder Snows are starting to add up, so we may be able to get it into Avalanche range. They go for the foul play, they don't bait, and I'm surprised the opponent wasn't switching exactly, because the opponent has to realize at this point just how weak the team is to Scrafty, so you definitely want to preserve it if at all possible. They bring back in the Scrafty, and I believe, is this a power-up punch? I think this is a power-up punch. It is, and Frostlass able to survive the counter. They're going to be able to get off the avalanche, take care of the Scrafty. It's up to BIBAREL in the back, and they have Jellicent. Yes! Oh, this is so good. BIBAREL absolutely walls Jellicent. There's not a thing they can do. Every charge move Jellicent has, resisted. Don't even have to worry about it. You just go straight Surf here. Unfortunately, the Jellicent will be able to debuff quite a bit, but again, the debuffs, the bubble beams, and the hexes are just not going to be doing enough. As basically, the opponent at this point definitely should have conceded, but is still staying in here and tries to catch. Unfortunately, transfers the hex, but now is going for the disrespect hyper beam onto Jelly. You love to see that, and after that, they're just going to be able to water gun down and get the win. So very nicely done there. BIBAREL able to claim another victim in the back. All right, hopping into the next match. We have Frostlass into another Surf Fetched. This is rough. We have seen this play out. He likes to go for the extra Powder Snow, but unable to get it this time. Really not ideal, and this time they have Night Slash. No boost, which is helpful, but these counters are really adding up. They are single resisted, but again, Frostlass not the tankiest Pokemon. Able to get the shield, this time able to get the extra Powder Snow. Unfortunately, will still not be able to keep up, so may have to try and execute a catch here. I believe they should be one more counter until the next one, but they decide to let it go. Oh, that is very nice. But the issue is, unfortunately, this team does not have a great answer to Azu outside of maybe the Hyper Beam. So this could get a little tricky. And now switches into the Umbreon, tries to catch a move, unfortunately unable to do so, and now Umbreon is going to absorb the wrath of Azumarill. Psychic is nice here because Psychic does provide some neutral coverage against the Azumarill, but it just doesn't do enough. Azumarill is far too bulky. Able to get the Snarl through, which is very nice, because a Plague Ruff does not KO here. Should be able to undertap there. Oh, actually overfarms and able to watch for the catch. Very nicely done there. And now should hopefully be able to get off 2 foul plays on the Skarmory. So very nice, anticipating a potential catch. Whereas if that was me, I would have just tried to undertap for the Psychic. So very nice situational awareness. And farming up a bunch of energy and then sniping with the Frostlass. Avalanche able to get the shield, and it's CMP! What a play! Switched, was able to win the CMP tie and get the shield. That is an absolutely insane play. Surf is going to be able to take them out. In comes the Azu, and Play Rough should not be enough to take them out from here, as BIBAREL does have some okay bulk and just get to the Surf. What an incredible win con. Switching on the Sky Attack, forcing the CMP tie, winning the CMP tie, so able to force the shield and waste the opponent's energy. That is an absolutely insane play. Hopping into the next match, this is a pretty nice lead here. Unfortunately, you do have to respect the Shadow Ball, so there's typically a lot of shields used on both sides. Although this is a pretty safe Icy Wind bait, and he calls the bait. What an absolute mad lad. Oh my goodness, Ike. I mean, I was thinking it was a pretty safe Icy Wind bait for the opponent, but I wouldn't have called that. Oh my goodness. And now bringing in BIBAREL here, and you just have to go straight for the beam. Play Rough does a decent amount, but can you get to the beam? Building up, ooh, opting instead to throw the Surf, was not going to be able to get to the beam before that Azu got to another Play Rough. So unfortunately, no utility for the beam this time. But the nice thing is he basically got rid of the one thing that, honestly, you know what? Come to think of it, Drifblim has 0 good matchups against this team. Because I was thinking to myself, you know what? Frostlass, Umbreon, yeah, Drifblim doesn't have great matchups. Honestly, against BIBAREL, Drifblim doesn't have a great matchup either. So basically, this whole team does very well against Drifblim. Drifblim has nowhere to run. They bring out the Galarian Stunfisk, and honestly, this works very well. This way, the Frostlass gets to avoid the Stunfisk, so it's definitely a win for Ike. No one charge move kills you here, so I think you just let this go. It's an Earthquake, it hurts, but you live it, so that's fine. And an interesting win con here is you kind of don't want to bait back out the Driftblim, because if you do, and they're able to beat the Frostlass, then the Umbreon may get Icy Winded, and it would be tough then to kill the Galarian Stunfisk. So I like staying in here, forcing shields, and now switches into the Frostlass, able to get an energy lead, and unfortunately not quite able to get there. Icy Wind will take them out, has to get to a move before they get debuffed, and able to get there. Very nicely done, able to get the shields down to make sure the Umbreon would not get debuffed. Back in comes the Stunfisk. I don't think a foul play KOs here. You have to hope this is the Rock Slide. If it's a Rock Slide, it doesn't KO, but it is the Earthquake. They're able to get there, and unfortunately not quite able to get the win. But still, a 4-1 set followed by a 3-2 set with a very cool team. And I believe he said he included a bonus battle as well. So let's check this out. Running Meganium into an Azumarill. And they have a Sableye, and now going to bring in BIBAREL. And BIBAREL should do fairly well here, because the normal typing going to be double resisting the Shadow Claws, which is very, very nice. Able to land the Surf, and can it eat a return? Shields up, and it's a foul play. So does shield up there, and able to farm down before they're able to get to another move. So BIBAREL able to keep switch advantage. Back in comes the Azumarill. Come on, go for the beam. Go for the beam. Able to get the beam. I want to see how much this does to Azu. I don't think he'll shield this. And that does a nice chunk of Azu's health. And switching into Glaceon. And they have a Alolan Marowak. And oh man. So you can see running some spice in this battle with the Glaceon. Able to get the shield. Very nicely done, and now going for the double Icy Winds. And since he was able to save BIBAREL, then this should do pretty well. So he was able to read its Azu Double Ghost, because one of the hardest Alolan Marowak counters in the game is BIBAREL here, because they just have to go for Bone Clubs. It's completely terrible. So a very nice read, recognizing this was Azu Double Ghost and preserving the normal type. Azu comes back in and throws. Even if it's an Ice Beam, Meganium is pretty tanky, but they don't have Ice Beam. They're running Play Rough, Hydro Pump. Meganium can survive 2 Play Roughs here. That's totally fine. And then you just keep farming up energy and get to that Earthquake. Able to get to the Earthquake versus the Alolan Marowak, and the Marowak has to respect the potential Earthquake here, and able to get the shield. Marowak farms down, and now just has to get to this Surf. Fortunately, can survive the Bone Club here. Surviving the Bone Club, and able to get to a Surf. So with a very crazy team featuring a Glaceon, able to get the win versus Azu Double Ghost. So all in all, Hyper Beam BIBAREL in the Great League. It has incredible new potential. Granted, it takes forever to get to, but man, if you can land it, that can really catch some opponents off guard. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.